collide. Die Hard MMA podcast, we won't hide. Clint's gonna dig deep, analyze each brawl from the underdogs to the champions standing tall. The fury, let your instincts rise. Feel the adrenaline rush, it's time to defy. Die Hard MMA, we're ready for the thrill. Get ready for the madness. Let's make that bankroll spill.
Happy Friday, degenerate gamblers. Welcome on back to the Die Hard MMA podcast, the undefeated post-weigh-in show hosted by your favorite beach bum. That's right, I'm your boy Clint, and I'm coming to you looking scraggly and scruffy as ever. And I promise you guys, before the pay-per-view card next week, I will get a haircut. I'll get this beard trimmed. You know how sometimes I'm speaking to the men and maybe women with facial hair out there. If you sleep wrong on your pillow, this stuff is uncontrollable. Like once you get to a certain length on the beard, it's just like I'm starting to look like what's his name from Castaway. Like you can't do anything with it, and the top is even worse right now. So I need to get back to reality so that I can look okay on my own YouTube channel. How's everybody doing today? We got Adam Morris. Yo, what's going on? KB in the house saying, Clint, how the lads looking on the scales? And KB, that's exactly what I'm here for. That's exactly what I'm here to show you, to tell you today. And I got to tell you, you guys tuning in for the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show this week especially have a little bit of a cheat code because not everybody's posting these today. Your usual outlets, for some reason, don't like Nashville. So these are not as easy to find this time around. So I've dug it up. We're ready to go. We're going to talk over this card one final time. I'm going to let you know anything we missed from Monday. If we found out any new information, if we found out about a fighter, a camp, being sick, motivation, retirement, whatever, all that news that we didn't have at the beginning of the week is here for you today. And then, of course, we watch the weigh-ins, we watch the face-offs. I give you my expert opinion on who won these weigh-ins and these face-offs. We see the height differences because there's some surprising ones this week. And then what we do, that is essentially the sauce that you put on top of the taco. We already grilled the shrimp on Monday. We put it in the tortilla, and today is the sauce. Get a little bit of pico, some cabbage, and then you've got yourself a delicious Baja spicy shrimp taco. And that's what we're trying to make today. That's what we're cooking today on the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show. And I'm literally going to go buy those for lunch as soon as the stream is over. So let's get into it. Hit the like button for me, please. Get subscribed if you haven't yet already. What's going on, Cade? Rumor on the block. They didn't get streamed. Yeah, it was tough. You got to find them on Twitter. I've been able to find a couple of videos online. So, again, I will help you guys out with that. But, yeah, they didn't stream it like normal this time. Jones, what's going on for UFC in the house? Dr. Elijah, what is going on? Dirty O, we got KB. I already shouted you out, KB. Any truth to the Lyme disease rumor? Yeah, I mean, that appears to be the case. I mean, he's kind of talked about the health issues and stuff like that. We'll get into that one. We will get into that one. But let's get started, you guys. You ready for this? First fight of the night. We got Jake Matthews, and he's taking on Chidi in Kuwani. We've got Matthews coming in at 170.5 pounds. Chidi missing weight. It was a big deal in his last fight that he talked about how he would never miss weight ever again. He promised he would never blow weight, but he came in at 171.5 today. Now, they weighed these boys in first. They are not the first fight on the card on Saturday, but they weighed in first. My expectation is that Chidi's probably going to do whatever it takes to get that half-pound cut off of him so he can come in at 171, keep his promise. But that means, you guys, he is not rehydrating if that is in fact true. I haven't been able to find or confirm that that's what's happening, but usually when they have a fighter who missed weight come in and face off like this before everybody else, it's because one of them is still cutting, and they'll give them like an extra hour allowance or something like that to go ahead and make the weight. And we'll get an update later on it, whether or not the doctors allow them to complete that process. But as you could see from the photo, Chidi is absolutely massive. Now, he looked rough on the scales like he always does. This guy is not built for 170 pounds. I don't know how he gets down to 170 pounds at 35 years old. It's not going to be a thing he'll be able to sustain forever. We're seeing the signs of that already right now because he is struggling to get his body down to that weight class. Now, we kind of talked about this one on Monday. I say we kind of talked about it. We talked about all these fights on Monday. What am I talking about? Jake Matthews is now a plus 135 underdog. Chidi and Jook Kuwani is a minus 160 favorite. This line opened up at Pick'em, and the money has come in on Chidi. Now, for me, you guys, I agree with the move. I think Chidi is the right side. I think Jake Matthews is kind of we've seen kind of his level. He's got a path. He's got an avenue. He could use the grappling in this fight. We've seen Chidi slow down, tire out, and have people use grappling success to wear him down. But that's just not what Jake Matthews does, right? So this is one of those weird fights, in my opinion, where Jake Matthews has the skill set to get this done. Jake Matthews has the ability to get this done. However, I have only seen evidence to the contrary for him using that style. And when a fighter refuses to play to their optimum style, when a fighter refuses to go out there and follow, what the backseat jockeys like myself are saying is the best game plan for them, I can't put my money on them. So I see a lot of people betting on Jake Matthews, and I get it, and I see the vision, and I respect it. I think he's a better live bet this week, you guys. If you see Chidi slowing down, if you see Jake Matthews getting in on takedowns, if you see him using the cage and clinching up and starting to kind of drag Chidi late, that is when you can jump in on Jake Matthews, but you don't need to do it pre-flop. I mean, even if you're laying like a minus 140 or something like that live where the bookies are like, we don't know what's going on, I would rather do that than bet the plus 130 and then have him getting kneed to Hades in the very first round, because we've seen Jake Matthews hurt. We've seen Jake Matthews rock. And in this fight, he's going to have to close the distance and crash the pocket and really get in there and make Chidi uncomfortable. And that's something we have not seen Jake Matthews do very often. He likes to play at range, and he gets lit up at range. So for me, this is a Chidi or pass spot. Now, it's mostly a pass spot. A lot of this having to do with the fact that Chidi may still be cutting weight. If I can get some confirmation that he did not have to go back and cut any additional weight or anything like that, that'd be something that I was looking for. Like, I would love him coming in straight up overweight. I would love him missing by 2 pounds and just like throwing in the towel or something like that. But the fact that he did everything he could to get all the way down, and he might potentially still be cutting rather than rehydrating, that's the kind of thing that scares me off of laying chalk on a guy like Chidi and Jook Kuwani. So I may completely miss this opportunity to make easy money on Chidi trying to fade someone like Jake Matthews, who's been a little bit up and a little bit down. But I just can't put my hard-earned money on either of these guys at this point. I think this is a great spot to wait, sit tight, watch it live. For the sake of the show, I'm picking Chidi. I'm going to let you guys know that. I'm picking Chidi to win this fight. But this is a very, very untrustworthy fight here, in my opinion. I love this new option here on StreamYard, so you guys can see your comments coming up here down on the bottom end of the side here. I don't have to highlight everybody's, but I can always see what you guys are putting up there, and you guys can kind of be part of the show and talk to each other here on this one. Let's see here. Catching up. Cade saying that Jake Matthews hits hard. Chidi is not as durable. Matthews live for a finish. Yeah, I think Matthews is live late. I don't think he's live early. He doesn't hit so hard. It's more the fact that he's technical and he's fast. And that is something that I think can wear on a guy like Chidi. I mean, I would love for them to put a bucket, just an empty bucket, next to Chidi between rounds and see how long it takes to fill that thing up. I've never seen a human being sweat the way that Chidi and Jook Kuwani does during his fights. Like, the amount of liquid that comes out of this man, I'm surprised by every single time. But if Jake is not actively pursuing takedowns, if he is not actively crashing the pocket, and then surviving the knees and elbows and stuff like that to come back at him, I think he's going to have a real hard time here. Now, Chidi, we've seen completely fall apart in round 3. So this is one of those fights, you guys. I don't think I need to bet this fight, right? Like, we're trying to win some money here. If you want to have some fun, do whatever you want, right? But if you want to actually like win money in this fight, it's a tough one to do that because round 1 is going to be cheaty, right? Like round 1 almost always is cheaty and Kuwani. Round 3, if it gets there, will be Jake Matthews. Like we've seen Jake Matthews fall apart, make mistakes and all that kind of stuff, but Cheaty ends up on his back. Cheaty can't keep going. Cheaty can't grapple. Cheaty can't wrestle. Cheaty can't hardly even keep the fight on the feet in round 3. It's going to come down to round 2. And if Jake pushes the pace, he'll win round 2. However, if Cheaty is able to back him up with knees and elbows in the clinch and keep him at range, Jake's not going to have an opportunity in round 2. So again, it comes down to a literal single round, 5 minutes of fighting to see who's going to win this fight. And for me, that's not enough when I'm not confident in either guy having the edge in that second round to go ahead and get it. For UFC, thank you very much, my friend. Everybody follow that advice. Smash that like button. Okay, let's keep it moving. So now the actual first fight of the card. Fatima Klein takes on Melissa Martinez. Fatima came in at 115.5 pounds today. Melissa Martinez 116. No issues for her. She was very relaxed. She was very calm. She's a little on the shorter side, as you can see from the photo here. Fatima Klein looked fantastic. Big photo, big smile, big flex, look great. And when they face off, obviously, Fatima has a pretty significant size advantage here. I mean, you can see that Melissa Martinez is built a little wider, right? She's got the shoulders and stuff like that, but Fatima Klein does have a size advantage here. We know Melissa Martinez has a huge issue with the takedown defense, and I'm kind of with Jones here, you guys. Fatima any way she wants, and I couldn't really agree more. I love Fatima Klein in this spot. I think everyone's still kind of waking up to the fact that she is just a legitimate blue chip prospect type, and we need to recognize her as such. The question is whether or not she finishes. If she gets on top, she's going to do terrible, terrible, dirty things to Melissa Martinez from that position, and I think she will get on top. So it's interesting to me. The fight going the distance is kind of a pick 'em price tag. Fight not going the distance is minus 130, slight chalk there. Fight to go the distance is plus 100. The reason I point that out is that Fatima inside the distance is minus 115. I talked about this on all my other shows. If you guys didn't watch like the Total Takedown, the prop show, like I go over my favorites of those things. So you've got a different angle to make some money. Please check those out as well. But the price difference to me, Fatima inside the distance is how I think this fight's going to go. But laying minus 115 on that when I could get minus 130 for all accidents involved, like that just makes far more sense to bet the fight doesn't go the distance, because I am fully expecting Fatima to win this fight. I am fully expecting her to finish Melissa Martinez in the second or the third round of this fight via ground and pound finish, or even locking up a sub or something like that. But let's say Fatima has an oopsie and like her knee gets dislocated and Melissa Martinez snaps her leg in half like Anderson Silva or Conor McGregor, right? Like shit happens in MMA. Stuff happens in MMA. We're talking 15 cents. I don't need to look right by picking Fatima Klein inside the distance. I can bet fight doesn't go the distance. Buy that extra 15 cents. It's insurance. It's just insurance. That's really all it is. My look on this fight, Fatima really does like to use her ground and pound. She likes to work with her knees, her elbows, and stuff like that when she gets on top of people. But I'm not going to say Melissa Martinez is a fish out of water or anything like that. The ref might have to step in and save her, but I actually think she'll give up a bad position. I actually think this is going to be a round 2, round 3 sub type of situation for Fatima Klein. Round 2 sub is 8-1. Round 3 sub is 12-1. If you're looking to get super degenerate, I think that's kind of the fun way that you get extra in on those prices. And the total sitting at 2.5 is interesting because the over is minus 125. The under 2.5 is minus 105. And this thing has been all over the place. The under opened up as being the chalk, the favorite here. And then money came in on the over. So the people with early looks, the people with big money, they're looking at this fight going the distance, which for someone who thinks it's finishing is a little bit concerning. But throughout the week, the money's trickled back in the other way. The under 2.5 was plus 130 at one point. It went to even money. Now it's minus 105. So the under 2.5 money is slowly, steadily coming in. I'm just going to hit the fight doesn't go the distance. Like I said, I'll chalk up and I'll pay the extra little bit, couple of cents, 25 cents on the dollar to get the fight doesn't go the distance at minus 130. And I think that's the way we go. But make no mistake, that is absolutely a bet on Fatima Klein to come out and show out and tell people exactly what is up. Let's go, Chris. What's up? Yeah, inside the distance, the way to go here. Absolutely. Completely agree. Jones saying, am I crazy for sprinkling Fatima round 1? Not at all, man. Not at all. I do think that we've got to give Melissa Martinez a little bit of credit. I think we've got to give her the benefit of the doubt. Fatima is not somebody who rushes. She's not an Ion Kutalaba. She's fully capable of finishing early, but when it's not her mission, like she will take the fight as it comes. She will take what you give to her. And because of that, I think she'll set up her takedowns. She will look for the level change. She won't rush once she gets to the ground. I think she's going to have to break the will of Melissa Martinez. And she is not somebody who we've really seen her will broken in the past. She's never been finished before, right? She lost a decision to Elise Reed. Like, I'm not entirely certain that she's somebody we need to be super excited about. But again, that's where I'm going with the sub, because you can't tough your way out of a choke, right? Like, I do think she'll get taken down. I do think she'll get put on her back. I do think she'll get beaten up, but I don't know that she's going to give up enough. The ref's not going to be able to step in and save her, because she's going to do everything she can to stay in that fight. And then Fatima will have to resort to choking her out to actually go ahead and get the finish, whether it's an arm triangle or a rear naked choke, something ground-esque, because she'll look for the ground and pound until she has to look for something else. She's actually pretty good with her grappling as well. She's got a wide variety of submissions, you guys. You look at like her grappling run here: toe hold, arm bar, knee bar, Darce choke, heel hook, toe hold. Like, this girl can attack anything from anywhere, and she's very, very good at grappling. She just likes to hurt people. She looks for that ground and pound first and then goes sub second. She got Dudakova out of there with elbows, but like I said, with Martinez, I think she's going to try to stay safe, roll, and give up the sub, and then Fatima will look for a finish that way. Let's keep it moving. All right. Next fight up, one that I'm really excited to talk to you guys about. Mike Davis takes on Mitch Ramirez. Beast Boy came in at 155.25. I always get weirded out when they do the 0.25 pounds. It's either a half pound or a full pound. Just quit messing with me. Mitch Ramirez came in at 156. Both guys are in great shape. Mike Davis looked like he was in fantastic shape today. And it's funny, because a lot of people were talking about how the size is going to be a non-factor here because Mike Davis is such a big guy. It's going to be no issue for him here. But as you guys can see from the face-off, Mitch Ramirez is massive. Mitch Ramirez is huge. Like, he looks undersized at 170 pounds, but he's got about a half head on Mike Davis here, and his shoulders are like 2 inches higher than Mike Davis is. And mind you, this is an angled photo as well. Like, if we were straight on, I think it would be even more significant seeing the size difference between the two. Mitch cuts a lot of weight, and in his UFC debut, Mitch actually, he said that his cardio concerns were because he cut like 30 freaking pounds for that UFC debut on very, very short notice. So I kind of expect a better version of Mitch Ramirez here in this fight. And he reminds me a little bit of Dalton Rosa. You guys, Dalton Rosa from like PFL now, I guess, but Bellator's boy, absolutely jacked, just a muscular monster. Mike Davis, you guys, this is talent and skill versus health and physicality, right? Mike Davis is the better technical fighter. Mike Davis is the better grappler. He has been doing this longer. He has fought the higher level of competition. So, like, Mike Davis is a guy that you guys have heard me talk about for a long, long time. I've been very, very excited about Mike Davis. Mike Davis is a guy that I've cheered for, that I've rooted for, that I said could be a contender one day. However, he is not healthy. He's had injury issues for his entire career. He's never broken through to the contender circle because he's always had health problems. He's pulled out of a million different fights every time he gets an opportunity. And then he gets a guy like Farazian. And I know we've got Paintgate to talk about. We've got to deal with the fact that, he's saying that the fumes were like causing him problems. He couldn't breathe. He was tired, all that kind of stuff. I know all that stuff is a narrative, but at the end of the day, I have yet to see, like, on paper, like, show me something. You know what I mean? His best win is a sub over Natan Levy. Now, Levy's out of the UFC at this point. So I'm not saying Mitch Ramirez is some blue chip prospect. I'm not saying Mitch Ramirez is someone we need to write home about. But his two losses was a very short notice where he was compromised due to his weight cut against Thiago Moises. Bad look losing by leg kicks to Thiago. I totally get that. But again, he was compromised. And then his Dana White's Contender Series fight against Carlos Prates was at 170 pounds, and he took Carlos Prates into round 2, which is something not a lot of people are even doing in the UFC these days. But the dude is a beast. He's a physical monster. He's not the most technical. He's probably a Dricus Duplessis archetype. You know what I mean? He's going to be a guy that wants to come in here and just muscle people around and just be big and physical and hurt you and crack you. And honestly, that's the kind of thing that right now at this stage of his career, I think that can beat Mike Davis. I expect Mike Davis to go out there early and get the takedowns. And yeah, Alan saying Davis by sub, totally on the board. That's the thing. If he climbs on this dude's back and transitions and gets a submission position on this guy, I do think he'll be able to submit him probably early in the fight. But if his cardio still has issues, like it did in his last fight, again, we're not expecting the room to be painted, but if he slows down because of his health concerns, because of that Lyme disease that we're talking about, like if he slows down at all in this fight, he's not going to be able to hang with a dude like Mitch coming forward and slamming him with huge power shots and stuff like that. So, guys, I already said it earlier on my podcast. If you guys haven't watched my Monday show, that's the one where you get the full-on technical breakdown and stuff like that. But Mitch Ramirez, I'm taking a stance here this week, you guys. He is my dog of the week. Mitch is a plus 700 underdog in this spot, and I have simply run out of faith for Mike Davis. I think we've hit that point in time where he has done what he can do. He's done what he's going to do. And I think he's ready to give it up. I think he's ready to be a streamer. I think he's ready to look for a different source of income. And if you're not 1,000% in it and you've been battling health issues and stuff like that your entire life versus someone who's young, someone who's hungry, someone who's 0-2 at the UFC level to this point, who really needs a win to save his career, like I know that this guy is going to give me absolutely everything I can handle as far as effort is concerned, whereas Mike Davis is a guy that I think is ready to hang it up. I think he's on his way out the door. So if that's the case, I can see this guy winning. Now, I do think that Mitch Ramirez can hurt Mike Davis, so I kind of like the KO, which is just an insane number. It's like 16-1 for Mitch Ramirez to win by KO. But the money line with the KO sprinkle, I think that's the way to go. 7-1 underdog. We're calling a big one this week, you guys. We're going for it. And then the 16-1 sprinkle on the KO prop for him to go ahead and pull the upset in a big way. Lockdog23, what's going on? Saying new here. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you. This is the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show where we just kind of put a little bow on everything. So make sure you check out that Monday show if you want the full in-depth breakdowns on that one. Let's see here. Lockdog saying Davis sub, Lewis KO, Fatima points. Hey, good luck. I think it's Fatima inside the distance, but we'll see. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Let's Cade saying this dog shot is going to look silly in hindsight. When has that ever stopped me, Cade? When has that ever stopped your boy? Like, I have zero issues looking silly in hindsight, okay? I've bet on Mike Davis enough times that, like, if I'm going to jump ship at this point in his career, and if I hit a 7-1, I'm going to feel like $1 million. So don't worry about me. It's all good. I'm okay with looking silly if I need to look silly sometimes. Next up, Kennedy Tchukwu takes on Walter Walker at heavyweight, 138 for Kennedy, and then 244.5 for Walter. So Walter definitely still the heavier guy of the two. Kennedy still looks a little bit puffy to me at heavyweight. Like, he doesn't look like he's totally filled out on that body, except for his HGH gut, which you guys can see in the photos here. He was very relaxed, very smiley. Walter was hilarious. He came up there with like a full-on cowboy hat and did like the finger guns and stuff. He, much like his brother, Walter is hilarious. The Walker brothers are a fantastic addition to the UFC, except they're trying to kill poor Johnny Walker in his next fight. Kennedy is just a unit up at heavyweight, you guys. He really is. But he still, you can tell that he's like a slimmer type of fighter, which not to say that, you can't win and stuff like that. But I do think the physicality at heavyweight is going to cause a problem for him at some point. He's just built naturally thinner than he really looks. And then Walter, on the other hand, looks like he's gotten his shit together. He looks like he's in better shape. It looks like he's slimmed down. So it's interesting. You've got one guy that is taking it more seriously, getting slimmer, the other guy who's bulking it up and moving up to kind of protect herself. Man, I am struggling with this fight because I do not like putting my money on Kennedy Tchukwu at chalk price tags. I think he's a bit of a bully at this point. He is extremely skilled. He is very, very technical, but he has no durability whatsoever. And frankly, you guys, I think a lot of people are giving him credit for durability at heavyweight that we just have no proof of since moving up to heavyweight. Like, the last time we saw this guy in a semi-competitive fight, he got TKO'd by Dustin Jacoby, and then he gave up a split decision to Ovince St. Preux because he refused to put his foot on the gas for fear of getting touched on the chin after getting knocked out. Then he moves up to heavyweight, and Chris Barnett, I love the guy. I love Huggy Bear, but he doesn't belong at heavyweight. He's a relic of a bygone era in UFC. He's a meme-level fighter. And so, yeah, he had no fear, and he TKO'd Chris Barnett, who couldn't hardly even touch the guy and got injured in his walkout. Lukas Brzeski is a guy who's just awful. He's just terrible, right? So he got knocked out early because that guy's got no defense whatsoever. I am not sold that Kennedy is a new, better, different man at heavyweight. I don't have any reason to believe that his durability is any better at heavyweight. And if anything, these guys hit harder. So eventually, this is going to tip. We are going to fade Kennedy Tchukwu in the very near future, and we're going to get it done by knockout in the very near future. Is that this week, though? I don't know if it's this week because Walter Walker has zero skills on the feet. He's a grappler. He's a grappler that wants to take people down. He grabs the body lock and drags you to the floor and just wants to sit on you. That's all he's got. That's all he knows. Now, could he be improving? Yeah, theoretically, he absolutely could be. He's the younger of the two guys here. He also weighs more, so that could be a factor. I think we've seen Kennedy with his takedown defense and his get-up game. We've seen enough proof that he probably can survive the grappling with this guy. The thing I worry about is the heavyweight bungalow, right? Like just the big Hail Mary, the overhand right into the double leg that I'm not entirely certain that Kennedy can take that shot. I really am not. Walter Walker by ground and pound TKO or just hitting Kennedy with something fluky in a transition, like that is totally live and possible in this fight, in my opinion. On the other side of this thing, I actually really like Kennedy by sub at 8-1. I think that's kind of like the sneaky good move here. This guy's front chokes are so freaking good, and you know that Walter is simply going to look for takedowns. Like this guy wants to get you to the ground. This guy wants to take you down. He wants to ground and pound you. He wants to look for heel hooks. And, you know, you look back at his regional record, it's a lot of ground and pounds. This guy gets on top of people. And in the second and the third round of his fights, he just starts pounding them to death with elbows, and he'll ride those positions for a decision if he needs to. But he actually had a lot of success looking for ground and pound with these guys. Now, again, at the UFC level at heavyweight, I don't know that he's going to be capable of doing that to Kennedy, but I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. This is a very tall, very lanky 205-pound fighter who sometimes doesn't fight optimally, who's scared to get touched on the jaw. Like Nikolai Negumereanu, I bet on Nikolai back in the day because he's a guy that just refuses to do anything except keep his foot on the gas and come forward and refuses to fuck off. I really feel like this could be a similar game plan from Walter Walker. And if he is able to control Kennedy on the mat, that ground and pound TKO is going to be very, very, very live. All things considered, I think violence is probably the answer. The under 2.5, minus 130. Fight doesn't go the distance, minus 160. I think those are super live here. In Kennedy's ideal world, in Kennedy Tchukwu's ideal world, he wants to jab you and run and not let you touch his chin. So he will look for a decision victory. However, when he needs to go, when he's got the opportunity for a finish, he absolutely will take it. So Kennedy is a very, very dangerous offensive fighter, and I could see him getting the finish here. And because of his durability issues, I actually could see Walter Walker being the one to get the finish here as well. Dirty O with a good comment here, in my opinion. Winner of this one will make it look easy. Kennedy keeps it standing or Walker gets it down and finishes. I completely agree with you, Dirty O. I completely agree with you. Either the only reason I think this fight goes the distance is if Walker has zero answers and if Kennedy is just treating him like a heavy bag and somehow he doesn't go down. Like if Walter's just like pure toughness, refuses to sit down, and Kennedy just beats him up for 15 straight minutes, I have a real hard time seeing it. I don't think many people get beaten up by Kennedy when he's feeling free and flowing on his feet for 15 minutes. So I think there's going to be a finish, but we'll see. Jones says fight ends by sub at plus 340. I don't mind that look whatsoever. I don't play those kinds of props very often. I probably should start looking into it, but I don't mind it whatsoever. Lockdog saying Walker will pull guard. That'd be kind of crazy. Would he pull guard, though? Why would he pull guard? I don't know about that. Kennedy round 2, round 3 also value. Yeah. I think the Kennedy beating him up for a couple of rounds and getting a late finish makes sense. And then I think Walter also getting grappling going or just letting loose with like a desperation overhand or something like that also makes sense. So I would pick violence there in that fight, but I really don't like either side of it because I think both guys are kind of question marks at this point. Kennedy, very, very untrustworthy at a minus 200 price tag. Even though I'm picking him to win the fight, it's not a guy I'd feel comfortable laying 2-1 on, if that makes sense. Next up, Eduardo Mora takes on the retiring lucky Lauren Murphy. Both women came in at 126 pounds. Lauren Murphy looks strong, big flex, looked great, especially for 42 freaking years old. She looks like an absolute tank. Eduardo Mora looked good. No issue, big smile, good flex. She might have really figured this thing out, which is good to see in like a young prospect because she's very, very big. She's very, very strong, and she likes to push a grappling pace. So for her to figure out how to stay at 125 pounds, I think that makes an absolute ton of sense. Laura looks intense. This is a great face-off. They sized up extremely well. I am excited for this fight. I know that sounds weird because it's a relatively low-level women's MMA fight with a retirement on the line, but that's my kind of fight, you guys. That's my kind of fight. Lucky Lauren Murphy is a plus 525 underdog, minus 750 for Eduardo Mora, and I just think that's crazy. Minus 750 is insanity for Eduardo Mora. Lucky Lauren Murphy is somebody who doesn't get finished, you guys. She is made out of iron. She refuses to quit. She does not stop. She's only been finished one time in her entire MMA career, and that was deep into the 4th round against Valentina fucking Shevchenko. Like, that's what it takes to get Lauren Murphy out of there. Round 4 against Val is what it takes. So you look at her last 3 fights. Valentina Shevchenko, Miesha Tate, Jessica Andrade. And even in the Jessica Andrade fight where she lost handily, she took an absolute beating. She set a record for UFC scorecards. There were 2 30-25s scored against her. She still never stopped. She still never went down. Like, if you think this girl is in anywhere close to the vicinity of Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Andrade with the type of offense that she gives off, you're crazy. Like, I do not see Eduardo Mora finishing this fight. She's big. She's slow. She picks her shots. And then she really wants to grapple. She looks for takedowns. She tires out. She gasses out. Like, I really think this is a fight that if Lauren Murphy was 4 years younger, she would win. You guys, seriously, rewind the clock. Give me 39-year-old Lauren Murphy, and I'm in. I'm pushing my chips in the middle. Problem is, she is at the very tail end of her career. And what do we talk about every time? The one thing you can control at this stage of your life is that you're in shape. So she's in shape. She looks fantastic. She's very physical. She's very strong. But she's like a creaky old door, man. It's rusty. It needs some WD-40. Her knees are going to creak as she's stepping up into that cage. This is a young man's game, young woman's game. I understand that. I think that we are going to see Eduardo Mora struggle. I think we're going to see her struggle because someone like Miesha Tate was not able to get Lauren Murphy down. And in fact, Lauren Murphy bullied her, a career 135er and 145er around the cage. So I think Mora is going to realize real quick how strong Lauren Murphy is. And I think we're going to have a shitty striking match. I think we're going to have Eduardo Mora landing cleaner and harder. I think she's going to have a speed advantage. Even though she's a little bit slow herself, she will still have a speed advantage over Lauren Murphy. But she's not going to hit Lauren hard enough to actually hurt her and put her away. Sneaky look on this fight, I think, is Lauren Murphy plus 3.5. It's plus 140 on DraftKings. So you get 3 judges' scorecards. A 29-28 decision for Eduardo Mora cashes that bet. You don't even have to win, but you still will get your bet cashed if Lauren loses a 29-28. I think it's Eduardo Mora by decision, you guys. I think it's Mora by decision. That's minus 200, which is gross, and the over 2.5 is minus 315. But at the end of the day, nobody finishes Lauren Murphy. I think I can count on even a 42-year-old Lauren Murphy to not get finished. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm saying. And I think that she's going to lose a couple of exchanges. I think she'll lose a couple of the grappling exchanges. I think she'll lose some of the clinch situations. I think she'll get surprised if she's unable to take down Lauren and keep her down there. This right here, folks, this is one of my favorite watch for a live bet spots on the entire board. I can't quite get to taking Lauren Murphy pre-flop. Again, 3 years ago, done. I'm in. But today, not quite. Off a 2-year layoff, I can't quite do it. So I want Lauren Murphy to win this fight. I expect this fight to be close. I think the money line side of this is probably the dog side of this. But if you want to look for value, you got to get the prop market. We got to go the over 2.5. You got to go Eduardo Mora by decision. Maybe look for the split decision prop. I actually think that one's probably pretty decent in this kind of a fight. We've already seen Mora go to split decisions before because she relies so much on the grappling. She's not so offensive when she hits the mat. It's control time. It's not damage. Like, these are things I think we're going to need to see her evolve to be able to actually count on her to pay off this kind of a price tag. So long way for me to say I might be live betting Lauren Murphy. Like, I expect Lauren Murphy to lose round 1, but I think it'll be close and competitive. And then we'll see what Mora's gas tank looks like in round 2, because we know Lauren Murphy ain't going nowhere. We know Lauren Murphy will have the gas tank. We know she'll keep coming. We know she'll keep sticking a jab out in her face. So I expect Lauren Murphy to fight for my money, and I'll look for a crazy number live if it looks like she's still got it in the second round. Otherwise, I'm going to say it's Mora. I'm going to say it's Mora by decision, but these numbers are disgusting and very, very hard to put your money on because I don't think Mora's trustworthy, especially at a prop bet where it's minus 200 for her to win by decision. Again, maybe the over 2.5 is a better way to look at it. Steph, what's going on? Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate you being here. Let's see here. Lockdog saying, brother, she's been outstriked by about 600 strikes in her last 3 fights. But Lockdog, again, look at the names. Look at the difference in the level of competition. First off, Eduardo Mora is not outstriking anybody, right? Like, she is slow, she is plotty, she is pot shotty. She does not have a big-time offense. And we're talking Andrade, which the majority of those numbers came from the Andrade fight, who's fast as fuck, boy. And then Miesha Tate, and then Valentina Shevchenko, like the current women's MMA GOAT. She won the belt back. She completed the rubies. Like, that woman is unstoppable. And you're telling me that we should use the last 3 fights as a mark to pick Eduardo Mora here? Somebody who had a very, very hard time out grappling Veronica Hardy, who belongs a weight class down. Somebody who missed weight and bullied Montserrat Ruiz around the cage. Like, these are not the same things, Lockdown. All respect, these are not the same things. Not even close. Those are not comparable. Maybe one day Mora will be good. But based on what I've seen right now, she is not somebody who I would compare to a Valentina Shevchenko in any capacity whatsoever. All right, moving it along. We have got maybe one of my favorite fights on the card coming up here. We've got Chris Curtis taking on Max Griffin. Curtis 170.5, making it for the first time in years. Max Griffin 170.25. Chris Curtis looks fantastic, you guys. He did his classic, got up there and did his classic pose. He's having fun. He is shredded, you guys. Chris Curtis at 170 is shredded. He's a different monster at this weight class. He looks absolutely fantastic. And I know you can't tell from this photo, but I am suspicious that he's got a slight size advantage as well. You see he's got that kind of hunched over frontward flex that he's doing when he stands up straight. Like, I think he's a little bit bigger than Max Griffin. It's not by a lot, so I'm not, don't write home about the size advantage or anything like that, but I think he's a little bit bigger than Max Griffin when they actually size up. They size up very well. Max Griffin, big flex. He looked locked in at the weigh-ins today. He's absolutely jacked as well. He always is in good shape. He talked about this fight being personal. There's some bad blood here. I'm not sure exactly why, but this was a very good stare down, and I love this fight. So you guys know I've been a Chris Curtis apologist for a very, very long time. I've been on the Chris Curtis train. He got to the UFC and 2 massive upsets, 2 big knockouts. I've made bank on Chris Curtis, and I've lost money on him ever since because he loses every single split decision that he goes to. And unfortunately, that's just his style. He always fights close with these guys, especially up at 185, where he's got to focus so much on being able to stuff the takedown. He's got to focus so much on keeping the range, and he can't really let his hands low. He's got to have his feet planted. It's funny. I actually had a conversation with Chris Curtis. I talked to him about it, and that was something he said that he's working on, because at 170, he's a lot faster. He's a lot lighter on his feet. He's able to shuck the takedowns and throw when he wants to. But at 185 pounds, these guys are so big. These guys are so strong. Like, he's got to be grounded. He's got to be heavy on his feet. So when they come in and they try to get him to the mat, he's able to kind of shuck them off and keep them where he needs them to be and be more of a counter striker. So he's always a counter striker. Don't get me wrong. But at 170, he's free. Where at 185, he's got to really focus on making sure these big boys stay off of him. I expect a much, much better version of Chris Curtis at 170 pounds. Like, this guy is going to be able to let those hands loose. He's going to have a speed advantage over Max Griffin. He'll work the body of Max Griffin. It feels gross to have Chris Curtis as a minus 325 favorite. But again, it's another situation where I just think it's correct, right? Like, Max Griffin goes to a split decision every single fight. Every single fight, he's going to a split decision. He's a little bit older, went to a split with Wells, went to a split with Means, that aged terribly, went to a split with Neal. Like, that's a good fight for him to be competitive in, at least. And then his most recent fight, he got completely washed by Michael Chiesa, which is kind of a bad look at this point in his career, I would think. So yeah, Chris Curtis is 37 years old. Yes, he's coming off of a knockout loss. He took 6 months off, though, so I would expect him to be fully recovered in this spot. And then you look at the guys that he was fighting. Brendan Allen, who's a fringe contender at 185. Kelvin Gastelum, who's a contender at 185. He knocked out Joaquin Buckley, who's just run and train on people these days. Like, this is the version of Chris Curtis I've always wanted to see, you guys. I'm not even going to shy away from it. I'm not even going to hide it. Chris Curtis is my boy. He's been my boy. And yeah, I'm a little bit biased, but like, this straight up is one of those fights where I'm like, fucking finally, it's time. This is where Chris Curtis brings it home. Like, I love this fight for Chris Curtis. I love the matchup for this one. He's got an opponent who's going to do exactly what he wants him to, a guy who's not going to grapple him to death. Even if he tried, a guy who's not going to be able to grapple him to death. A guy who's age appropriate. Chris is actually the younger guy. Chris is actually the slightly taller guy. Like, I mean, everything shows up Chris Curtis here for me. Like, we're giving him such a big step down in competition. It's all day. Yeah, Chris Wilson, Chris Curtis, all day. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Oh shit, Clay, is it his birthday? Is it Chris Curtis's birthday? Let me check. July 15th. July 15th, 1987. Wow, he's a 90s baby like me. So yeah, his birthday is Tuesday. So not quite like, not on the birthday, but yeah, birthday week for Chris Curtis. Extra little edge there in value on my boy. But yeah, you guys, it's funny. I've been actually thinking about like going back to the anchor system. I've been thinking about anchoring Chris Curtis this week. I know it sounds a little bit crazy because he does tend to fight closely sometimes, but this is a fight where I think he really can kind of show off who he really is. As long as he's not damaged because of that knockout loss that he took, if he's coming in confident, if he's coming in correct, he absolutely wrecks a journeyman like Max Griffin here in this kind of a spot. So I think I'm going to have a decent amount of Chris Curtis, even though the money line is something that I think is probably a little bit wide considering how he usually tends to go out there and fight. I will probably have Chris Curtis in a decent amount of my plays here this week. Gamble, why would I sync with the anchor parlay? My anchor parlays are fire, bro. I'm like, what, 8-1? I've only missed one anchor, and I still to this day defend the fact that Benoit Saint-Denis would have come back and won that fight if they let it continue. So why? Gamble's on Max this week? Gamble, give me a reason. Give me a reason. All right, everybody. We got over 300 of you live here across all platforms. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button. Share the show if you haven't. And let's get into the more main card action here. Next up, you got the big boys coming back. Junior Tafa takes on Tokkos. 206 pounds on the dot for both men. Junior Tafa looking slim, showing off some abs. I mean, this guy absolutely was built for 205 pounds. He doesn't belong at heavyweight. That's obvious. Tokkos looks pretty good as well. He's got some hidden abs. He's a guy that looks a little bit flabby, but when he raises the arms up to flex, you can see him down there. He did the no neck flex where his shoulders got up there, and he looks like you couldn't choke the guy if you tried. Tafa, slightly taller. The picture doesn't quite do it justice. Again, if you go to the side view, the fighter on the left always is like a little bit taller because we're angled here to the right. So I believe that Junior has a slight size advantage. It's not big. It's definitely not. They size up very well here in this spot, but want to make mention of it here. It was respectful between these two guys for the face-off. You guys, I think this is a Tafa spot. Tokkos is just one of the worst. Like, to quote my guy, Liam Picks Fights, one of the worst to ever do it. I don't think he's very good. Now, I don't think Junior Tafa is very good either, but Junior Tafa is a better kickboxer, and I think he's going to be too big and too strong now to get taken down by someone like Tokkos. So we're going to end up with a kickboxing match. And if we end up with a kickboxing match, then in my opinion, that's Tafa all day. So I think Tafa is going to find his way to a win here in this spot. But I said on my Monday show that I don't want to be responsible for this line. Tafa's a minus 180 favorite, which is insane because he's awful too. So the fact that the bookies had to make somebody a favorite for people to bet on here in this spot, that's a problem for me, right? I do not want to put chalk on either of these guys. No chance. So I'm going to pick Tafa to go ahead and get the win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tokkos gives him a run for his money. I wouldn't be surprised if Tafa knocks him out in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if Tokkos chokes this guy out in round 3 because he's more well-rounded and he's got a better grappling game. Nothing about this fight would surprise me. Very chaotic, weird line, close line. A guy that does Tafa even have hype? I was going to say a hyped guy, but like, does Tafa even have hype? Jones saying fight goes the distance. Wouldn't that be crazy? That's entirely possible as well. I think one thing that I think Tokkos is being a little bit counted out, like, yes, he's not very good, but because he's fighting somebody who is also not good, there's a chance that this is just a sloppy fight, right? He went to decision with Navajo Sterling in his last fight. So that totally happened. And then, like, he lost to Omar Sy and got knocked out by Ming Yang Zhang. So, like, okay, great. Like, that's the type of guy that you're going to get knocked out by. So he might be tough enough. This might be an over type of situation, which is a pretty good look there, Jones. I'm not getting too invested in this fight. I think it's a shit show. So it's one that I'm probably going to sit back and just kind of watch and laugh a little bit. Next up, highly anticipated, Vitor Patrino taking on Austin Lane. This is where it gets weird. Austin Lane is coming in at 245. Vitor Patrino came in at 249. So massive jump up in weight and size for Vitor Patrino. Austin Lane, blank stare, big flex. He's a big human, as you can see from this photo. He kind of had that 6 yard stare. Like, he didn't look like he wanted to be there this morning. I think he kind of knows what's coming. Vitor Patrino gave an absolutely massive flex. This guy is twice as wide at heavyweight. I don't know how. It's weird because usually when you see people move up a weight class, like there's obviously a discernible difference. But with this guy, he just blew the fuck up. Like he's twice as broad in his chest and his back. Like, it's crazy. He just went sideways like a brick house. He looks a little bit like Yoel Romero these days with how big he is. He's still got muscle all over the freaking place. Dude is huge, but he's short. He is so short. It's funny because I was worried about him moving up to heavyweight because I'm like, these are big boys. These are big boys up at heavyweight. And this guy was like nose to nose with Anthony Smith when he fought that guy. So look how tiny he is against Austin Lane, you guys. Like, it's almost like watch him walking in or walking away here. It is concerning how small he is. Look at that. Like, look how small this man is compared to Austin Lane. I mean, okay. Dirty O, absolutely. Still salty. I can't believe it. He ruined my night that night. Austin Lane, you guys, is terrible. He's just awful. He comes out in round one and he looks to bang. And if he can crack you from distance and range, he is absolutely capable of beating lower caliber fighters or fragile fighters, non-UFC guys. Like, he'll be fine. He's fun in round one. And even though he got his grappling going against a guy like Robelis to Spain and sent him over to Karate Combat, he's not going to be able to do that against a lot of people, and especially against someone, I think, like Vitor Patrino. But the size difference, like that's kind of what's catching me here is like, look how freaking big he is. Like, could he just bully a guy like Vitor Patrino? Absolutely he could. But the second Austin Lane slows down, he's going to get met with a right hand from Vitor Patrino. Like, Vitor at least went 15 minutes with Dustin Jacoby. Yeah, he got knocked out in the third round. He slows down. The cardio is bad. He definitely gets tired. And Clay saying that Lane is terrible, but Patrino is a fraud. Couldn't agree more. I think Patrino is a complete fraud. But I think Lane is so bad and so not durable that I still think Vitor Patrino is eventually going to find the chin and knock him out here. It could happen fast. I think Austin Lane is going to do everything he can to protect himself in this fight. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was like maybe a minute left in the first round. Austin Lane takes a deep breath and like is starting to get a little tired from forcing the grappling and like backs off and just drops his hands a little bit too quickly for one. And Vitor like cracks him and puts him down. I think this is going to be a 1-round murder. I think this is going to be Vitor Patrino by KO. I think it's KO 1 or KO 2, and you can get decent numbers on the KO 2 if he manages to survive that first round. But I think Austin Lane, even just being the bigger, taller, longer guy, eventually is going to be the one who gets messed up. My guy Razor Sharp Picks in the house. What is up, buddy? I was planning on shouting you out here on the stream today. Guys, if you need somebody to help you make money in sports besides MMA, Razor Sharp is absolutely your boy. The tear that he is on right now in MLB is absolutely ridiculous. It's insane. You know what? I need to get like a referral code or something like that for Razor, because the amount of people I'm sending his way is probably ridiculous. But you guys should see some of the baseball bets that he's been throwing out there. I hate baseball. Like, I'll bet on it because I'm a degenerate, mostly looking at like home run props and stuff like that for funsies. But this guy seriously is incredible. It was just earlier this week. He got like an 8-game winning streak, and most of them are underdogs. Like, Razor's just fucking good, dude. He's so good. And I wouldn't give you somebody that charges for picks unless they're proven long term, and Razor's the fucking man. Like, he does charge for picks. I'll tell you guys that. He does charge for his picks, but it's worth it because over time he is absolutely a proven, documented winner, and right now he's just on fire in freaking baseball. So check him out. Yeah, check him. Make sure you guys check out Razor Sharp Picks. Tell him Clint sent you. Tell him your boy sent you. All right, guys. Next up, we have got Morgan Charriere taking on the hometown boy, Nate the Train Landwehr. One of the best fights on the card here. Charriere and Landwehr both came in at 146. Charriere looked calm, almost a little too calm. You go back and you watch him on the scale, and the way he like blankly stared, I'm just like, man, like I don't see fire. I mean, he might be just trying to like zone out, trying to chill, but he looks like there's no fire in his eyes right now. And Nate, on the other hand, gave full-on crazy eyes. Intense. Absolutely intense. Huge stare. Morgan is slightly taller, but it's not super significant. This one's crazy, man. So I think Morgan Charriere, he's obviously got the power advantage. He's going to be a counter striker. He's going to look to crack and hurt someone like Nate Landwehr. However, Nate Landwehr has this thing where if he doesn't get knocked out on the first punch, he never stops coming forward. And I think that could come into play in this fight. He's going to be the hometown guy, so the crowd is absolutely going to be behind him and screaming and going nuts every time he does anything. And we've seen Morgan Charriere be in close, tight fights and get robbed on the judges' scorecards and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Because he just fights with a bad style, a style that lends itself to being robbed on the judges' scorecards if you don't do something to extend yourself. So, yeah, this is a spot where I kind of like Nate by decision. He obviously could get a late sub or something like that. I think it's either Morgan by knockout or it's Nate by decision. I have a real hard time seeing Morgan Charriere win this fight by decision just because, again, the hometown advantage, the hometown judges, the way that Nate fights, he would have to like hurt and drop Nate. He would have to do to Nate exactly what was done to him in his last fight to win this thing via decision. And I don't think that's going to happen. If you hurt Nate that much, you'll probably end up finishing him. And if you don't hurt Nate that much, then he's going to get in your face and never stop coming forward. I do think Morgan Charriere could use some wrestling and grappling in this fight. But again, that lends itself to a very, very close fight and a potential robbery situation with, you know, not robbery, but close fight like they could pick against you. Total is 2.5. Over is -175, and I do think this fight probably goes the distance more often than not. My initial lean on Monday, guys, was Morgan Charriere by KO. I've kind of switched this one up a little bit throughout the week. My confidence is absolutely, you know, 0 on this one because, yeah, man, tough. I do not have any confidence in Morgan Charriere anymore. He was like a circled prospect for me. He was like the real Cage Warriors prospect for me, and he's proven in his last couple of fights that is just not accurate. He might be just a middle-of-the-road kind of guy at this point, and that seems like the UFC is treating him as such, right? Like, you take a couple of bad losses when you're a hyped-up prospect and everybody gets behind you and everybody's going nuts for you and excited for you, and they're like, okay, so you're not the dude. You're not that guy. So we'll give you Nate the Train in his backyard. Yeah. So I could see Nate Landwehr pulling this one off big time. I think it's another good live betting situation, though, because if Morgan's going to get it done, it's probably going to get done early. And you'll be able to see if Morgan's using the grappling on Nate, if he's able to control him physically, if he's just bigger, stronger, that kind of thing. You'll be able to tell before you jump in and then make like an informed decision on whether or not you want to get involved. But I think Nate the Train by decision, Nate by split, those are definitely something that's entirely possible. All right. Rod saying thought he had some weird thing going on with his hair, but it's just a plant. Yeah. No, I absolutely do have something weird going on with my hair. Your boy needs a haircut, right? Like I'm out of Dodge, so I need to go get a haircut, need to get it shaved back on down. But yes, that is that's a plant behind me. All right, guys. Steve Garcia takes on Calvin Kattar, 146 pounds for both guys here. Steve Garcia looked pretty good. He gave a weird little wink on the scales today. Calvin Kattar looked fantastic. He actually gave, you know what? I love the energy coming from Calvin Kattar when he was on the scales today, because yes, he looked relaxed, but he gave like this smirk and this like nod as he got off the scale that like he knows. Like I think Calvin Kattar has like dialed the fuck in for this fight. I think we're going to get the best version of Calvin Kattar we've seen in a very, very long time. Is that enough to take out a fast rising guy like Steve Garcia, a guy with nuclear power like Steve Garcia? In my opinion, yeah, I think it is. I think it will be. Calvin Kattar has a ton of high-level experience. He's durable as all get out. He absolutely is fantastic on the feet. If you don't make him grapple, he's a lot more effective. And we know that Steve Garcia just comes forward and rips bungalows, right? This guy just wants to rip you with giant power shots. He's got these knockouts. He's got 14 knockouts. The guy's a viral sensation. He's on a 5-fight win streak, all by KO in the first or second round. Like, he's just got nuclear power. But this is a different level of competition. This is not Mokweza Costa. This is not Sung Woo Choi. This is not even Kyle Nelson. Like, this is a guy who's been fighting nothing but contenders his entire time in the UFC. Calvin Kattar is known for getting into wars, being tough, being durable, being able to work behind a jab. His only KO loss was the knee injury with Arnold Allen. Like, this guy went to a 5-round split with Josh Emmett. He's a 5-round built fighter. In his last fight against Youssef Zalal, he was having Youssef Zalal on the ropes. Zalal was running for his life in the 3rd round because he finally turned up at that point. Now that he's been out training with TriStar for this entire camp and this whole time since his last fight, like, I think we're getting the best version we've seen of Calvin Kattar in a very, very, very long time. So I think he's going to go out here, and I think he's going to show out. Now, Steve Garcia could clip the guy. Don't get me wrong. He's got that kind of power. He's got relentless God-given power. And if someone was ever going to ice Calvin Kattar, it would be somebody like a Steve Garcia. However, Dirty O saying the Maha shot knockout was the one that I was just going to go ahead and reference. Like the way that Steve Garcia fights, he leaves himself wide open to getting cracked coming back the other way. And I just think that Calvin Kattar is a far cleaner striker, and he will land those return shots. And I don't know that Steve Garcia's got the durability to take them. He's got the power to throw forward. He's an incredible hammer, but he doesn't have anything defensively speaking, and he's defensively void because he's looking for that kill with every single punch he throws. I think Calvin Kattar is exactly the kind of guy that will take advantage of that. So I haven't locked the bet in just yet. I'm curious if this is going to stay right where it's at or if it's going to move. You've got Steve Garcia minus 125, Calvin Kattar plus 105, the ever so slight underdog here. I do think this is probably a vicious fight that doesn't go the distance one way or the other. Calvin Kattar obviously could jab his way to a decision. We've seen him do it before. But realistically, I don't think Garcia can take the damage coming back at him. So somebody's winning by KO, in my opinion. And I kind of like the plus 200 on Calvin Kattar to go ahead and get a knockout. He's not generally a knockout guy, but I think if you're ever going to knock anybody out, if you're winning against Steve Garcia, that's how it's going to go. So, yeah, I like Calvin Kattar. I like him just to be the more technical guy. So I like Calvin Kattar. I'm going to play that one. Jones says fight ends by KO. Love it. Hey, I don't mind that one bit. And Cameron also saying the fight under is sneaky here. I agree. All right, guys, let's get it going. We've got a couple more fights here. Co-main event. You've got Gabriel Bonfim taking on Stephen Thompson. 171 for Bonfim, 170.5 for Wonder Boy. And both guys were excited. Gabriel Bonfim was super smiley on the scales today. Big flex. Stephen Wonder Boy Thompson, he's got that touch of gray thing going on. He's an old man like myself up there these days, but very, very good shape, very solid flex. It was a fun face-off. Both guys were energetic and smiling and having a good time. And this is just going to be a classic Stephen Wonder Boy, nice guy type of fight, right? The one thing I want to say, Thompson has talked about not leaving it in the hands of the judges. He talked about going out there and being exciting. Like, I don't know that he's said anything about retirement. I haven't heard the R word just yet, but he's giving retirement vibes to me. Like, if he loses this fight, he's so far away from any type of title shot. Like, I'm not sure what he would still be fighting for besides the paycheck, obviously. So I kind of think this is it for him. And I think he's going to treat it as such. I think the under could be sneaky here in this fight because Gabriel Bonfim, if he gets the grappling going, will submit Stephen Thompson. Like that, it's not a question, right? Stephen Thompson is a guy that can be submitted, can be out-grappled, and can be controlled. And we've seen the guillotine on this Gabriel Bonfim kid that I think the sub is the way to go here. Plus 120, a little bit of money has come in on that. I don't think he can decision Stephen Thompson. I don't think he's got the cardio to go 15 minutes. If he doesn't get the sub in like round 2, I'm not sure he can go round 3 again grappling. He's got some quit in him. He's got some cardio issues, and I think Stephen Thompson would take advantage of that. And then on the feet, obviously, we know if you stand in front of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he will show you the door. He will knock you out. And we've seen with Gabriel Bonfim, like he got backed up and TKO'd by Nicholas Dalby in that fight because he wasn't able to get the finish. He wasn't able to get his game going. It took him until the second round to sub Chaos Williams. So, like, there's some Stephen Wonderboy Thompson upside here, you guys. There really is. I think it's not a unrealistic chance that Gabriel Bonfim is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and if he doesn't get that early finish, he gets finished late himself because we've seen that before. We've seen it already at the UFC level. Tough, really tough. I kind of am going to be cheering for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in this fight. You love to see an old man like that get one more for the Gipper, but that's this entire card. Every single fighter on this fight card is old or small. Like there's almost no like age appropriate fights on this entire freaking card. So except for the old men, right? Except for Chris Curtis and Max Griffin going at it with each other, but they're both old, so they still check the box. Yeah, Billy with a good call here. I think this is a live bet opportunity too. You want to watch round 1. Pre-flop, Bonfim should get it done. Pre-flop, Bonfim by sub. Like, that's the read for me, right? Like, I think that's how it goes. But pull that parachute, baby. If we get to round 2 and Stephen Thompson is starting to get his back to the fence and Stephen Thompson starting to work his way up the cage, like, that's definitely a way to go here on this one because I think he'll get taken down early, and it just comes down to whether or not Bonfim is able to keep that game plan going, whether or not he'll be able to actually go ahead and get the win. Yeah, Cade, this is absolutely like steer into the prospect model. The UFC is trying to get some big names on some people who are hyped up. The main event we'll talk about in a second. Talles and Teixeira, undefeated, 8-0. Gabriel Bonfim, co-main event, 17-1. Both those guys fighting legends. Charriere, I would say he's being brought in like, I think that's a win-win for the UFC because Nate the Train in his backyard will cut a promo, and that's good for them. Morgan Charriere getting on track against somebody like Nate the Train, that's good for them because he kind of got exposed in his last fight. So that's a win-win for them. Vitor Patrino, 11-2, getting fragile-ass Austin Lane at heavyweight. Yeah, that's absolutely what's going on there. Junior Tafa is supposed to beat Duco Tokkos. That's exactly what's happening there. The old bastards again, Chris Curtis and Max Griffin, nobody cares. Like, their records don't matter. They don't care about that one. But Jake Matthews and Chidi and Joe Kuwani, again, Jake Matthews is a young guy that they're looking to break through and get to the next level because why not, right? Chidi's getting older. Eduardo Mora, 11-1. They're giving ancient-ass Lauren Murphy, who's in a retirement fight. Yeah, the entire card is set up that way. The UFC is trying to build prospects, which God love them. It's about time they started doing this. We need some prospects to be invested in. We need some prospects to be excited about. When they got away from like the star model that got them to the dance, I feel like the UFC dipped hard, and it's been like we just need to naturally wait for an occurring, naturally growing Ilya Taporia to come in from the heavens to bless us with somebody that can host a pay-per-view card. And those are just so few and far between. You've got to manufacture these kids. You got to bring them up the right way. You got to get us excited about them. You've got to give them the Patty the Batty treatment to get them to where you want them to be if you want that to happen. And they just haven't been doing that with very many people lately. So anyway, rant over. Main event time, you guys. Derek Lewis takes on Taliesin Teixeira, 261 pounds for Derek Lewis, 259 pounds for Taliesin Teixeira. And we got a couple of big old flabby boys here. Like Derek Lewis, not going to lie, you guys, not body shaming, obviously, but he's looking a little soft up there. Like you can see a little saggy titty going on there. Like he's older now. He's older. And so that's going to happen, right? It's a very naturally occurring thing, but like it looks like his body's starting to soften just a little bit. And you wonder if he's training as hard as he used to. He's a big man, but he's never been like the most physically imposing muscular wise. Like he's just a big, thick dude. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's losing a little bit of that late in his run here. Taliesin Teixeira, however, he's skinny fat. Like could this guy make 205? Like, I wonder if he could make 205. I really do. Because when he gets up there, he's soft. He's soft and jiggly. He looks like Tai Tuivasa. There's just so much free space on him, and he's thin. Like, yes, he looks large here. He looks very physically imposing over Derek Lewis here. But he's tall and he's slim. So I kind of think there might be an advantage or an opportunity for him to drop weight if he really got his shit together. I'm not an expert. I don't know him, obviously. But I'm just saying there's a chance this kid might be in the wrong weight class. Teixeira's feeling himself. Huge smile. Huge flex. And when they faced off, Derek Lewis was not meeting him in the eye. He was like looking down, doing his usual thing where he's not staring at you. And this kid actually like got down into his eye line and like forced Derek Lewis to meet him eye to eye. And I got to tell you, that's a bold move. That is a bold move to force a man like Derek Lewis to meet you in the eye. Like, he's so funny. But if there's one man in the world that I wouldn't want to be staring down eye to eye like that, it's a guy like Derek Lewis. Like the nuclear levels of power that this guy has, the all-time KO leader in the UFC, like that's not the guy I'm going to make look me in the eyes. You know what I mean? Like let him look off in the distance and then whoop his ass. That's the kind of move where like you light a fire under the wrong guy sometimes. Taliesin Teixeira with the big, bold move here at face-offs. Obviously, he's got the height and reach advantage. Obviously, he's got the youth advantage, but it needs to be said that at heavyweight, they carry their power longer, right? These guys are not a fish out of water when they get older at heavyweight. They carry their power and their ability well into their 40s sometimes. It looks like, you know what? I had a sneaky look on this card, but it looks like that may have already gotten touched a little bit. The over 1.5 when I broke this down on my total show was plus 180. I actually kind of like it, and it's plus 160 now. So it's come down about 20 cents since I talked about it. I think this fight could go a little longer than people are expecting. Derek Lewis is not necessarily the round one hitter quitter that he gets advertised to be. Yes, he's the all-time knockout leader, but like if you look at it, he's got 7 knockouts in round 2. He's got 6 knockouts in round 3, and then he's got 1 in the 4th round. So roughly, a third of his KOs, 9 of them, come in the 1st round. That's just not really how he operates. Like even his fight against Rodrigo Nascimento knocked that dude out in the 3rd round. Like it was the flying knee with Marcos Rogerio de Lima that got it done. Like early, Chris Dawkins is chinny as fuck, right? But someone like Curtis Blades that he had to respect the grappling, that was round 2. Even someone like Alexei Olenek, who he had to respect a little bit, that was round 2. Volkov, he had that giant comeback win with literally 11 seconds left on the clock. That was in round 3. Like he went a distance with Francis Ngannou. Ngannou was scared of this guy's power. So
it's all going to come down to how Taliesin wants to play this, because this kid in the clinch is filthy. His knees, his elbows, he's disgusting. So I absolutely believe that Taliesin can KO Derek Lewis in the clinch, but it's going to come down to setting it up. It's going to come down to finding that space and that range, and if he wants to just step straight into the fire, or if he's going to take his time, because he's a round one kid. This guy knocks everybody out in the first round. He's got almost no fight time. He's got several sub 60-second KOs. Even his last fight against Tafa was 35 seconds. So he's going to come out aggressive. And if you do that with Derek Lewis, like, that's a real killer be killed mentality. And Derek Lewis has a history of taking out these tall, long guys. And Taliesin is not a guy who's got one hitter quitter type of power, right? Like, he relies on multiple shots to get it done. He does attack the body well. I like the stabbing front kick. I like the knees to the body. I like the clinch. And I think that'll be a real problem for Derek Lewis. But I'm curious just how physical this kid is. I talked about, like, you know, how skinny fat he is, the size difference there. Derek Lewis has been known to fish for underhooks and put people up against the fence. Derek Lewis does have trips, and he can take people down, and he can get on top of them. Like, this is billed as Taliesin should walk through the legend Derek Lewis. But this kid has 8 professional fights with a full career fight time of like less than 15 minutes. Like, this guy just has not been in there with anybody. So he's either heavyweight Conor McGregor and he makes, you know, toast of Derek Lewis, Texas toast, if you will, or Derek Lewis is going to show this kid there's some levels to this game, and he's just not quite ready yet. You know what I mean? It's not even a levels thing. It's a fact that you're not quite there yet, kid. 28-12. Derek Lewis has 40 professional fights. That's just a lifetime of experience. And these are the types of spots where I like to fade these kids just on principle, because I don't know that they're necessarily ready. Taliesin is a minus 300 favorite now. I mean, it makes sense. The age, the height, the reach, like, it all makes sense to me. It really does. But there's something in my soul that I just can't shake, that Derek Lewis will find a way to, like, land something later in this fight. If I'm betting anything here, you guys, it's probably the over 1.5 at plus 160. I think we can get into round 2. And that's the way that I would look to bet this fight, just because I think Taliesin's going to have to play it a little bit smarter. Whether or not he actually does, that's the question, right? I don't know if the kid is going to come out the same as he usually does, or if he's going to take it a little bit slower. If he takes it slower, I think Derek Lewis is dead. If Taliesin comes out and he says, I'm going to stay at range, and I'm going to kick you, and I'm not going to let you touch me, Derek Lewis is dead. In the second or the third round, he will eventually crumple to body shots. Like, Taliesin will ice this man. And you're getting plus 700. And, oh, look at this. Taliesin KO round 2 is 7-1. Taliesin KO round 3 is 16-1. I like those numbers. I like those sprinkles, because I think that's realistically more how the fight will tend to go. Derek Lewis by knockout is up to 3-1. So the books have kind of moved a little bit here strongly in the favor of Taliesin Teixeira. Don't get it twisted. I am picking Taliesin Teixeira. I think he looks like a pretty legit prospect overall. However, we've seen the hype trains in 2025 be derailed consistently. This is Derek Lewis's backyard-ish, so he's going to come out and put his best foot forward. He's talking about how he's never felt better in his life. His back is doing better. That's always been a big thing that's plagued Derek Lewis, is the health and ability to move because of his back problems. So if he's got his diet a little bit straight, which he talked about, actually, he's able to eat this week like he's never been able to eat on a fight camp week before. I think Derek Lewis could send this kid packing. I think he could hit him with a shot that the kid just doesn't quite see coming. So we'll see what happens, you guys. I am rooting my ass off for Derek Lewis, right? Like, I am tempted to say one more time, one last run with my boy Derek Lewis, just for shits and giggles, because I like making money when my boys pull the upset, right? So I might want to do that. So I kind of lean over, and I will pick Taliesin, sadly, to win the fight. But just going off of vibes, energy, fans, I kind of like Derek Lewis. So I might talk myself into a Derek Lewis bet, but the more likely thing that you'll see on my card is the over 1.5. Quickly, we'll go ahead and do a little bit of a recap here for you guys. So Fatima Klein, inside the distance. That's really good. I like Fatima Klein inside the distance, or I'll fight doesn't get for that one. Mitch Ramirez is my big dog of the week. We're going to call him for the outright upset over Mike Beast Boy Davis. Realistically, I think Davis probably subs him early. That's the most likely thing. But if he's not himself, Mitch Ramirez comes back and gets the damn thing done. Mora by decision. Chidi is the side, I think, but that's a live bet situation. Chris Curtis all day, however he wants. Expecting Junior Tafa to win, but can't put chalk on that guy. Vitor Patrino by KO at some point. It's going to happen, but minus 700 for that fraud is stupid. Nate the Trey is super live, so I kind of like the dog shot there. Calvin Kattar is the other spot that I like, plus 105. I'll probably be adding that one. Bonfim and Thompson. I like Bonfim sub. Fight doesn't go the distance. Probably another violence look that I like on that one. Thompson live if he's able to defend those takedowns. And then in the main event, we just got done talking about it. That's the undefeated post-weigh-in show, baby. I got some tacos to destroy. I'm going to go get me some shrimp. I'm going to hit the beach. I'm working on this tan because I'm white boy. You can see the tan lines are starting to come in at least a little bit. I'm not much for the beach. I don't like sand. But I'm enjoying myself here on vacay, you guys. Appreciate you all being here very, very much. Adam, I hope you're right, my friend. Derek Lewis, take that O, baby. Let's get it done. Hit that like button. Get subscribed on your way out, everybody. Thank you all again so much for being here. Love you guys. Good luck tomorrow. I'll post all of my picks up, and then we'll see you. I'm sure I'll be able to get live for the fights tomorrow night. And, of course, come back on Monday. We got an awesome guest for you. It's pay-per-view fight week. We got fights to talk about. The grind never stops over here, baby. Let's roll.